Now that you worked really hard learning how to apply the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium equations to a whole bunch of real-world scenarios, let me be the first to tell you that Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium is kind of BS. I'm sorry, but there is not a population of wild organisms on planet Earth that is truly in Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. Because in order for a population to be in equilibrium, to have constant allele and genotype frequencies from one generation to the next, all five of these assumptions have to be met. In order for a population to be in Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium with fixed, unchanging allele frequencies, there can be no natural selection. What that means is every single individual in the population has the exact same survival and reproductive rate. And clearly, this frog with the little cutie eyes is going to contribute more of its genetic material to the next generation. Second assumption, Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium assumes that there is no mutation in the population. But we know mutations are happening all the time. Think about the human organism. I'm composed of 30 trillion cells. There are spelling mistakes that are occurring within organisms and certainly across populations, both in the wild as well as in the lab. Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium assumes that there's going to be no migration, there's going to be no gene flow, no new alleles in, and no alleles lost. But we know that organisms, particularly animals and certainly plants as well, they're on the move, right? Populations are dynamic. I mean, if we look at this little picture, these toads are clearly going to swim the river. They're horny toads. Fourth assumption, Hardy-Weinberg assumes that the population is large. With small populations, we get all kinds of random stochasticity, which we'll talk about when we talk about genetic drift. And then the fifth assumption that Hardy-Weinberg makes for a population to be in equilibrium is it assumes that there's completely random mating, that females and males just mate randomly. But we know that that is not the case. In animals, often it is males that are doing the showing off or the competing, and females doing the choosing. These are the five assumptions of the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium equation that you are responsible for. So, Rachel, why did you make me endure learning activity 5.1? The Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium equation is actually very, very valuable. So it represents a hypothetical population, one that is not evolving. The way to think about a population that's in Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium is it's the baseline. It's the point of comparison by which we can compare real populations to. And we know in real populations, allele and genotype frequencies certainly change over time because most, all of those assumptions are regularly violated. So think about your rock pocket mice from the last module. You will recall that some mutations in MC1R resulted in a dark phenotype. So there's the mutation assumption violated. And then nature selected for the dark phenotype on the lava rocks. So again, no natural selection is violated. So in the rock pocket mice, we can see evolution in action. But we can compare what we actually see in nature to this hypothetical population that does not evolve, that represents a baseline. And in comparing the real evolving population to the hypothetical population, we can estimate things like the strength of selection pressure or the impact of genetic drift from small populations, or the changes in allele and genotype frequencies that are driven by migration events. So, in closing, the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium equation is super important for helping us understand how populations evolve in the real world. I hope that helps.